For ACUsports.com, I'm Grant Boone talking to ACU senior wide receiver Darian Hogg and head football coach Ken Collums. The team coming off a 31-17 loss at Illinois State on Saturday night up in Normal, Illinois. Darian, let's start with you. A couple of touchdown passes, a really good game for you in that 31-17 loss. So many of us were thinking about just let's see where we stack up against a team that's gone to the FCS playoffs. As you've seen the film now and as you played the game, how would you compare your team to Illinois State? We saw the score, but just in terms of playing with them.
Well, we played with them, though. That's the thing. A lot of people found out, even our team, even some of the players, if some people were lacking confidence, if we could play with people, we can. And that's one thing we showed, everybody, even their fans. After the game, there's a lot of their players telling us, we're going to be really good. So, we stacked up well. I thought.
I did too, and I didn't hear a lot of people saying we couldn't. What I heard a lot of people wondering is, or saying is, we just don't know because we haven't done it before.
That is true. Our first three games, they weren't FCS opponents. They were D2 and NA or whatever Concordia was.
Yeah.
But it was good to have a first challenge and see where we actually stack up and stuff like that. We were with them the whole game. Offensively, we just kept shooting our foot off. With penalties here and there. And, I had a couple touchdowns and stuff like that, but my game from a technique point wasn't my best game of the season. So, there's little details for everybody to get better at, and so that's what we're working on.
People look at stats and they don't see what you see because you go back and study the film. Speaking of stats, they are pretty good for you. I've got you right now tied for 6th in terms of receiving yards, or 6th actually in the nation in FCS. I've got you tied for 5th in touchdown catches with 5. You've got 430 or some odd receiving yards on 22 catches. New quarterback this year, obviously, John David Baker. You guys clearly have something going on that's pretty good.
Me and Johnny came in together in 2009, so this is our 5th year together, so this is just a lot of a lot of connection there.
Yeah. 16 touchdowns for him and no interceptions. Let's talk to your coach here. Darian, we've seen him make plays his whole career. His freshman year, he was behind Clyde Gates, and so didn't get a lot of playing time, but he's been an impact player from his very first start. I think the Tarleton game back in 2011, he had 99 yards catching and a whole bunch of tough catches. He's a tough receiver, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's a blue-collar guy that is willing to block. He enjoys blocking as much as anything, and that's pretty rare because he's 6'1". He can run. He's really learned how to maneuver, bend, stop properly, and which all that with a desire to block and do things properly, all that makes for a really good receiver. And he's a playmaker. He's a guy that we feel like we can throw the ball up to. And he'll come down with it. He's a guy that we feel like on third down that we can go to that is going to make the tough catch. Because third down in the red zone, things like that, it gets tight. And you're going to get hit as a receiver. So it's, live with it and make the catch. Just make sure you get your depth. He is a detailed guy in his routes, and that's what I appreciate about him.
Pretty light on his feet, too. That little twinkle toe tap dance down the sideline wasn't bad.
Yeah, not bad. We've seen that before. That's not surprising. And I'm just glad their fans got to see it too, because we scored on that play.
Your big takeaway from Saturday night was what?
Well, it's just we can play with most teams if we play clean, and we'll have a chance at beating most teams if we'll play well. And we were constantly we put ourselves in tough situations, all 3 phases of the game. Offensively, we're constantly in 2nd and long and 3rd and long. And when it was 3rd and 10 or less, we made the first down 60% of the time. That's doable. That's just operating your offense. But when you're operating in 2nd and long, it's not good. Defensively, in critical situations on 3rd down, we would get them to 3rd down, and then we would have a breakdown. Could be 10 of the 11 guys were doing right. One of the 11 didn't do something properly, and now we've got an open receiver, and they hit it. Special teams wise, we gave up some returns, some kick returns that were way too big, and obviously we gave up the punt return for a touchdown right before the half. But every other special team snap, we were solid. And outside of the long yardage things on offense, we were solid. 1st and 2nd down on defense, we were solid. So we played a lot of the game really well, but we just didn't play consistently. And if we just got to get the thing back to consistent football play, and then we'll be fine.
Let's talk about Tarleton State, your opponent this week. So many of the opponents on the schedule are mysteries. We don't know them. We know Tarleton very well. They know you guys. There have been some incredible games between your team and Tarleton State over the last several years. The last two have gone down to the wire, 3-point games. Kerry Fowler has won a couple of close games this year. They beat Midwestern State. They then beat Angelo at the buzzer, basically, final 30 seconds of the game. He's built his program with a lot of high school guys, not unlike what you're doing with your team, and some of that is beginning to come to fruition with them.
That's right. And then they still take transfers. A lot of their defensive linemen are transfers from other schools. But it's going to be a good game. Anytime you hook these two teams up, we're gonna play a competitive game. It's going to be fun to watch, whether it's at Shotwell or Stephenville or Cowboy Stadium or in a cow pasture. They would meet us anywhere to play because it's always a fun game and very competitive. And it should be on Saturday.
And it will be at Toyota Stadium in Frisco, home of the FC Dallas Soccer Club. It's a kickoff at 4 p.m. Lance Fleming and I will have the radio broadcast at 3:30 p.m. For senior wide receiver Darian Hogg and for Coach Ken Collums, I'm Grant Boone for ACUSports.com.